All right, Leafs talk. JD Bunkis, Sam McKee, Justin Bourne. Before we get started tonight, let's just say follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at JT Bourne, at Sam A. McKee, and subscribe to this podcast on all platforms, Spotify, iTunes, leave 5 stars, do all that stuff. We've appreciated the listens. We are going to guess that the people won't be absorbing as much of the content tonight based on that baddie. So let's get this one started. Justin Bourne, let me just ask you this one. Did the Leafs blow it tonight? Because it kind of felt like they blew it tonight.
Blow it's a weird one, like in terms of framing. I don't know. I think it's interesting when you watch a series like this, the two teams feel each other out in the initial going. Like, I think we all agreed it didn't feel the same way as last series, right? It doesn't feel like the stakes are as high. Sammy, you mentioned the animosity's not there. As a viewer, you don't have the guys you hate on the other team yet. That soon as they step on the ice, you're like, you get so familiar with an opponent. So that sort of introductory feeling out stage was interesting. And I think we got a sense for what the series is going to look like. It's going to be faster. It's going to be more loose. There's more room to skate. It's going to be more dangerous when you make turnovers either way. So it's going to be a different type of series. Brian Burke always says you got to win 4 different series, 4 different ways. This is not going to be the same type of series that the Tampa Bay one was.
We got no Sam audio, so
oh no,
I know old Sammy's audio is immediately gone. Here's what I'll say. You're right. It's tough to say blow it because they didn't have a lead at any point in this game, but I'm pretty disappointed with that game. I think that this was not one that if I'm Sheldon Keefe, I'm very happy with my team. Like, I can go basically down a laundry list of things that really kind of, I'll say, annoyed me as a viewer of this hockey team and as someone who has a rooting interest in their success. I'll say it just a no jam night. Like, this one felt like early on in the first period, to me, they fell in the trap of playing Florida's game, which is exactly what Florida wanted them to do. They biffed on 3 power plays, and sure, Bobrovsky was brilliant in one of them, and full marks to him for making a bunch of big saves, especially on the last one. But ultimately, that's the 23rd ranked penalty kill in the NHL, and they gave you a golden opportunity out of the gate, and you were just not able to capitalize on it. And then it just felt like throughout the game, Toronto had a good second period, and then the third with it right there. You're just down a goal. You're on home ice. That, again, no sandpaper, no jam, no grit, no sustained offensive zone time, and you just sort of let one slip away against a team that I wasn't overly impressed by.
I'd agree that they played Florida's game. This is a team to me that this is a learning thing for Toronto, where the criticism from me and from many people has been that when it can be easy for the Leafs, they like it to be easy, right? Like, they were happy tonight to play the trade chances and skate and break the puck out. They had a bajillion entries tonight against Florida where they're able to actually carry the puck through the neutral zone and get in. But the trick here is they need to be the team that has beaten them in previous seasons to Florida. They need to be the lock it down, make it a slog team for the opposition, and not accept that it is going to be that kind of game. And I'll tell you what, the people who I'm most critical of on this Toronto Maple Leafs team for wanting to play that type of game, man, Willie Nylander tonight, it was the perfect example of what the Leafs do when I don't like watching them play. Just kind of, it'll come. We're going to get our chances. Don't force it. Rather than on the offensive side of things, you still got to take it to the hoop. You can't just be content being on the outside. And I thought Nylander way content, not moving his feet. And that was just one of the guys, but it was indicative of it was the theme of the night for me, was that it wasn't desperate hockey.
I agree, Bourne. And that's what was, again, gave me the regular season feel that I texted you guys about early on. Like, clearly it wasn't going to have the intense feeling of an elimination game against Tampa with the ghosts of, 20 years on the shoulders, but I didn't feel like it needed to dip to that. And to your point about the zone entries, again, this was a frustrating point to me for tonight's game, was Toronto was able to gain the zone quite freely. And I think that almost made us recalibrate our feelings about the way they played a bit, because that was such a difficulty for them against Tampa Bay. But then what happened again? No real sustained offensive pressure for Toronto. It kind of felt like they were okay gaining the zone and then flipping pucks on net and having that be their offense tonight. Like, how many times did they really grind and work through an offensive possession, through a shift where it felt like they were really putting the pressure to Florida? From my vantage point anyways, I didn't feel that way. Sammy, I think we have you. So
I'm back, baby.
You are back.
Hey.
Way to go. Sammy. Way to go.
Thank you.
Way to step in. How'd you feel?
I just felt remarkably unfazed by anything that happened tonight. I don't know. I thought the Leafs were better for a lot of the game. Thought it came down to a couple big mistakes and their goalie playing better than the Leafs goalie. That's really what ultimately happened to me. Like that, the play at the end of the second period where they go up 3-2 is just inexcusable from all people on the ice. It's just a total disaster at the end of the period again with those kind of goals that kill you. But like, I mean, if they play like that again in the next game, they're probably going to win. How many posts they hit, how many big saves does Bobrovsky have in them? Like, I'm not nearly as chapped about this loss as you are off the top, I would say, would be my feeling.
You know, it is at home. So, I mean,
yeah, I know. Listen, I would prefer them to win, but like, I'm just not apoplectic about it. Like, I thought that they played well, thought they came out well. They started well, had some great chances on the power play where they couldn't cash. Bobrovsky, brilliant. I didn't think that they were really that bad at all tonight. I didn't, I'm not panicking about this series at all. Like, I think they'll come out and they'll play pretty similar to that in game 2 and they'll be fine. I think they're a better team than Florida.
No one's talking about panicking for the rest of the series. This is now becoming a straw man argument. This is just like tonight. I didn't think that the Leafs played with jam, and I don't think that this was some type of insane goaling by Sergei Bobrovsky. And
I do, for sure.
I think
he was unbelievable in the third period. Like, they had a million chances. He stoned them multiple times in the third period. Like, they were the better team throughout the third, I thought. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Just felt like he was the number one star.
Good second too. It's really strange. Like, this is the type of game that, again, we haven't seen the Leafs play really in the playoffs a ton. They haven't played a team that wants to go about it this way. It's one of those series where, because opportunities are going to come, it's not just the pressure on the defensive side of things. It's pressure on the offensive side of things on the Stars to put it away. Like, Mitch Marner making $11 million, pretty quiet for me tonight in a game where, there's a lot of room out there and, your offensive guys are going to get looks. Matthews had a zillion shots, but Nylander, no good. Tavares not very involved. Ryan O'Reilly had a couple of moments, but, I think part of the reason I'm so hard on Nylander is this: can we run the Nylander stuff? Is because, when he had chances to even make plays, he couldn't make plays. And if you're not going to play defense, then go get it for us at the other end. So there's some moments throughout this game where not super impressed with old Bill Nye. Where have we got 88 on this one? I don't know. I don't think this is one of the Nylander moments, is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, skate the puck wide. Like, he's got so much gap speed. He's just set, comfortable to stay on the wrong side after he dumps the puck in, not able to get after it. Just really, unimpressed with his lack of pace in this game. There's a couple times he did take it wide where he didn't want to drive the puck in. It's another one he gets here. Yeah, this one, JD, you wanted this one too, where he cuts back. Or no, that one's he creates nothing off the rush, right?
Yeah, this is what I mean, though, about the game. Like, when we're talking about the opportunities and the saves Bobrovsky made, it's like there's a couple around the net for me, but way too much settling off the rush for Toronto tonight.
Hold on, JD. Sorry to interrupt. Watch him here at the blue line.
Yeah.
Put a body on Verhaeghe. Now there's pressure on the forecheck. You just let him skate by you. Like, to me, it's just really a lackluster effort from him. I was frustrated watching him all night.
And that's what I mean. I got to tell you, Bourne, I don't feel like Marner had an impact on this game whatsoever, but he totally skates underneath what happened in William Nylander tonight, where this was Nylander's worst game of the postseason. Like, he was a factor for the other team to me tonight. Like, just no energy, no real presence, some like mind baffling mistakes. Like,
how about this one where it takes the net off this?
Yeah, not going to the net there. Do you see the pass?
Didn't even turn his head.
Like, what exactly was the plan there? I just felt like he was checked out mentally tonight. And so that was it for me too. I thought Matthews was kind of buzzing, although it seemed like he was off his skates a lot tonight. I don't know what to make of that, but just But Marner, no impact. Nylander, just bad. And then Tavares, similar thing where in a series where the Florida Panthers are going to be fast, if you're going to play their style, I think that is going to expose some of your guys, Tavares and O'Reilly specifically. And so, yeah, I was not happy with this loss tonight. That being said, I think, Sam, to your point, the bigger takeaway for me is I wasn't exactly overly impressed with Florida. Like, that's sort of the spin zone to me, is that Toronto played a pretty bad game, in my opinion, and they were still better. They still outchanced them. They still had the better second and third periods. Yeah. And I don't expect, Bobrovsky to make some of those saves with regularity. So I think that's what maybe I'm feeding off of with you, where it's like the no panic thing, because it just felt like that the Florida Panthers, that model felt pretty unsustainable to me.
Yeah. And I think that the biggest problem, if I'm going to say the thing that scares me the most, is that Matthew Tkachuk is the best player in the series. And he went out there tonight and he acted like he was the best player. Like he was in the offensive zone for the Leafs the entire game, causing havoc. How many points did he end up with tonight?
3.
I don't even know. Yeah, it felt like he had contributions on every touch of the puck for them. And I thought that Keefe had out the wrong guys against him a lot. It felt like the fourth line was out there against him a lot. It felt like Yarncroc was out there against him a lot. It's kind of going back to the Cirelli thing, kind of going back to hard matching sort of your like quote unquote defensive forwards. Don't do that. Play Matthews against Tkachuk. Like you have to, like, your best defensive forward is your best offensive forward too. It's the same guy. Just trust that he can handle that matchup, because if you're trying to do like Ryan O'Reilly, God love him, he's going to get caved in by Tkachuk if you keep playing. Like Tkachuk is at another level. Tkachuk is borderline the MVP of the playoffs so far here. Like he's really, really, really terrifyingly good. So that's the one thing to me, that he's playing at the type of level where he can will you to victories. He can will you past the other team. That's by far the scariest part of it for me tonight, and how good Bobrovsky looked. Those two things give me the biggest concern.
They pasted him a bunch. You know, like I'm sure they're like, if you get a chance
to hammer
on him, do it. Like I don't think I've seen Matthew run like Shen or McCabe got a piece of him tonight. He didn't get up. He didn't say he didn't like say anything to them, or he just got up and kept playing.
Yeah,
dude, I got to say about Tkachuk in that regard, he got plastered by Shen and he got hit pretty hard by McCabe, right? Mm-hmm. And both instances, he's just, like you mentioned, he just sort of gets up and he's in the play. And I went there. This is obviously kind of a Dumbo take. This doesn't make any sense, but there's just some of those guys where it's like a goaltender where you want to feel the puck. Like Tkachuk probably just wants to be in a physical series and just like feel a body or two.
He loves it.
And like, I don't think if the Leafs are going to try to, track them like that, you got to hit them. Obviously you want to be physical with the player. That's what I'm saying, is like, I don't want to advocate not for it, but it's almost like he felt, this is exactly what I want to be doing tonight. Welcome. I welcome this. I love this. I live for this.
Yeah. I think you keep pasting him. Roll the dice, but I know what you mean. It does. He loves the engagement. He loves the extra attention, that sort of stuff. Yeah, he feeds on it for sure. But he came out here motivated. I think they said after the first period he had 6 hits. That was the most he had in any game against Boston. So that's a big hit right there.
Yeah, the Shen one was massive.
Oh my God,
he's lucky.
But he's just got a smile on his face. He's got that thing hanging out of his mouth. His mouth guard. He just doesn't care. That's the thing. Like he's just watching him against Boston and watching him through the first game of this series. He is the definition of relentless. It doesn't stop. His motor is he is going north at all times. When he wasn't sat down on his ass multiple times tonight, he was around the net. He had the puck on his stick. He was just dominant. And that Bennett is a great complimentary player to him, playing great center for him. It's just like nasty, good skill, goes to the front of the net too. Like this line is a real issue for the Leafs. Like this is something that they're going to have to spend some time in practice, in film, figuring out what they're going to do against them, because I don't know what the matchup is for them, because they're going to be a big issue.
Well, it's like the Hagel, Cirelli, Stamkos line, right? You've got this one unit you got to figure out how to handle. Yeah. I thought one thing that Keefe did really well in this game, the second period, he was like, he recognized who he had and he changed the lines pretty quickly. They went to some really significantly different lines, whether, Knies goes up and it's Matthews and Marner. They end up tying the game after, you saw some shifts where Matthews played with Tavares and Nylander. Like he did eventually juggle things up, but I need to see more Bunting, less Yarncroc. I don't think, I think Justin Hall should probably draw back in the series for Liljegren. I didn't particularly care for him tonight, but he wasn't bad either. That pairing, the reality is, I think Gio's the problem on the pairing, but they don't have the handedness to fix that. You don't want Gustafsson coming in, so I don't know what you do about that.
Gio got walked by Reinhardt in this game.
Yeah, you just saw him got pasted by Tkachuk, and it was not another great.
It wasn't a pretty night for him. It's funny. I actually kind of liked Liljegren a little bit tonight. There was a really bad play he made in the defensive zone, but I like having him up top when the Leafs have space and they're trying to set something up. Like I just feel at least his shot is a bit of a presence.
He can do, although he has wrapped out the other team 2 games in a row for rushes the other way. But yes, more than Hall, he can do something with it.
He sure has, Justin. That's where it's like, that's the give and take with that player. But it's funny because I don't know how I feel about the Keefe second line thing. Like maybe Sammy, you can be the splitter here, because the Leafs clearly had their best period in the second. And if it's not for I think the misplay of the game, which is the Jake McCabe read, right? If he doesn't do that, it's a completely different timeline. Who knows what ends up happening here? But to me, it was kind of like, all right, you guys had one period that wasn't phenomenal, and you immediately went to your crutch, which is putting Matthews and Marner together. And to me, if you're going to have sustained success, those two guys need to be apart. Matthews and Marner end up both playing like 25 minutes tonight, and I didn't feel the Marner part of this. And then it did feel as though Tavares and Nylander kind of went away, and the Leafs were a one-line team. And what have we been critical of Toronto in the past is, hey, sometimes in the playoffs, it feels like they're a one-line team. And at least the Bunting O'Reilly line gave them something tonight, because Bunting had just a ton of jump. But I thought also it was pretty inexcusable that Matthew Knies, who, great, he scored a beautiful goal tonight, he deserves credit for that, he shouldn't be playing more minutes than Michael Bunting. I'm sorry. Like, it shouldn't be that way when a guy's going.
You don't think?
No, man. Bunting was really good.
I thought Matthew Knies has looked better than Bunting maybe ever has. Like, cause the entire time he's played, like, I thought he was really good tonight. Like, I think he kind of he tipped that one into his own net. It wasn't a great play. And then I don't know. I thought he was really close to one of their most dynamic guys the entire night. Bunting scored too. I don't think it's a
speed rush. So go ahead, Sammy. Sorry.
No, I just don't think it's as like cut and dry as you're making it, that, Bunting should play more than Knies. I think Knies is actually better defensively than Bunting is. He gives a better effort in the defensive zone, in my opinion. Like, I think it's a pretty close battle between those two. Like, I'm not offended that Knies is playing more than Bunting at all.
Well, with Knies playing with that top line, I'm just saying, to me, I'd actually wouldn't mind it if they would have given Bunting more looks up the lineup.
Agreed. I agree. Especially after he scored.
And and Yarncroc being, I think, just less than a minute less than Bunting, similar kind of thing, where
that offends me.
Yeah.
That offends me. Like, I've hated Yarncroc from the start of this series. Like, from the start of the playoff
games into, like, maybe next out for me.
Yeah. I have not, he hasn't given him anything. He hasn't given him anything.
No. Yeah, and the Knies Bunting conversation to me is like, they're your 2 best left wingers, and they should get your top 6 minutes. That's kind of that. And you have yourself O'Reilly, Achari and Yarncroc or something, Kerfoot, whatever you like there. But
yeah, it just, again, it all of a sudden to me tonight, it did feel a little bit that way with Yarncroc and Kerfoot and Zach Aston-Reese, where I was feeling the little bit of that lack of winger depth, and you really do feel that when Nylander disappears like he did tonight, right? And again, it just, all of a sudden the Leafs felt like a one-line team, and Ryan O'Reilly's doing his damnedest, right? He's just battling out there, and he's chasing after
puck battles, winning draws.
Zach Aston-Reese only played 6 minutes tonight.
I was going to say, I wanted to say like maybe 7.
Yeah, he played 6 minutes, and Camp played 10, Achari played 11. But outside of that, it was pretty spread out pretty evenly amongst the forwards in terms of, the middle class of guys. So go ahead.
I do just want to make the note that, like I said, that Matthews, had lots of shots and lots of attempts and whatever. I started the show by saying that when this team can have it slightly easier, they don't have that desperation that makes them so good. I've clipped 3 or 4 forechecks that I'll probably write about tomorrow, where Matthews is not moving his feet and just letting the D go back and get the puck and kind of come back the other way with it. It's a general desperation thing. You don't want to say they're not trying, but they have a gear beyond what they gave tonight as a group to me.
Yeah, Borny, that's why I'm so frustrated. That's why, like, I'm not in the place where Sam is, where it was like, hey, they were the better team. Cause it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be the better
team. But yes,
they were, but you're supposed to be. You're the Leafs that's supposed in your prime. You beat this team in the regular season 3 times. They took 1 from you in overtime, right? Like, this is a group that in the Florida Panthers that got hot at the right time, but
it's a very different situation right now than that, obviously.
Sure.
Like, you can't compare regular season to this. Like, this is a completely different thing.
I can compare these 2 rosters, and I can compare these 2 blue lines and just these 2 teams in general. I think Toronto should have the top end skill that can take over a game and beat Florida's top end skill. I do think that there was a lack of urgency with these guys tonight. And I'll just say it because I think a lot of people were thinking it. There were 2 competing theories with the get out of the first round thing. And one was that the monkey's off their back and now they can kind of play freely and be themselves and blah, blah, blah. The other theory was that they feel like they accomplished something greater than they had actually accomplished. And there was a little lack of desperation moving forward. And I don't know. I do wonder if some of that set in tonight because I did not see a desperate hockey team. I didn't see an overly hungry team. I just saw some guys that sort of played like, again, a regular season style game that felt like we could have been watching that in January.
Yeah. And to me, if it's not, it wouldn't be, feel like you accomplished so much, so much as something, as much as it would be just, you have the opportunity to relax because it's not a huge deal if you lose one, it's a big deal, but like they didn't have that desperation tonight. So, not a great one, not the way you wanted to start things off, obviously, even though they did play great, did play better than them. I thought Bobrovsky was good and all those things. Even the power play, JD, which you didn't like, I thought they created a ton of opportunities.
Yeah. No, they did the third one, especially.
That's the best they've looked on the power play without scoring for sure. Like when their power play is bad and they don't score sometimes, it kills them. But tonight they were dynamic. Like they had the puck in the offensive zone for the full 2 minutes. They were getting shots. They were getting chances. They were snapping it around pretty good. I thought it just, Bobrovsky
doesn't always go through.
I can't believe I was longing for Andre Vasilevsky, but like they score. If it's Andre Vasilevsky in net tonight, they score 5. Like truly.
You might be right.
No, like how many saves did he make? Like that blocker save he made on Matthews, no chance that Vasilevsky makes that save. Like,
power play complaint here. Sorry, Marner on that side is of no use to their hockey club. They'll let him have it out there all day. He's not a threat. That's like the old Ben Simmons out behind the arc thing. He doesn't draw anyone to him. I need those guys flipped.
Well, didn't this power play 2 end with Marner kind of getting a little desperate and flipping one on net? Am I wrong about this? I think that this ends with man. No, dude, Matthews had 2 grade A opportunities on this one, but yeah, I didn't think the first 2 power plays were overly spectacular. I thought that this one was brilliant, obviously. Yeah, see, I think maybe not.
That's it. He can go down with it from the flank, but that's nasty that they get it into Matthews there.
Yeah, it really was. This felt like the tipping point in the game where they didn't get it, and I was like, oh no, this isn't gonna see. Yeah, it does end with Marner. It's kind of stepping in there and going, I tried. I was like, all right, we're done here. Okay, can we talk about Jake McCabe? Because I do think that he was a pretty major storyline tonight.
Yeah,
he is a lot of things, right, guys? Like he hits well and works hard and does a lot, and sometimes he just has big brain farts. And after the big hits, a couple times now, he's forgot to keep playing hockey.
Yeah, it happened exactly in against Tampa when he lit up Easymont in game 1 after they had made it 3-2, the whole building's rocking, and then he's like out of the play, kind of wrestling with Nick Paul. They go down. David Kampf takes that little slashing penalty and they score on that power play. And then tonight he rocks Duclair with a great hit. And then he's just capital H horned up. He's like, I am
in your legs at that point. Like,
he's like, it's time now, baby. It's Jake time. And he just flies up the ice completely. Like there's 2 minutes left in the period. Maybe just stop at the blue line, Jake. Like you don't need to dive down to the hash marks to get a net front presence. Brody makes an awful read on that play. Like he's
Yeah.
just,
But he does get a piece of it. It just banks off a guy's skate and doesn't go
but
where
like
it's
he just
supposed to go.
he took a weird route to it. He looked like Manny Ramirez in the outfield on that ball. It was a really weird route he took. It was just not a pretty sequence at all. But
There you go.
McCabe had multiple other
Boom.
there was multiple other moments in this game. It wasn't just that. Like
Yeah.
I thought that he was borderline, like where's he going?
Yeah, that's a trademark dive in. That's brutal.
Yeah.
Jake
it's just
McCabe had 3 goals this season. Like, what are you doing? You team just tied the hockey game, and you're looking at, like, think about even just going into the end of the period where you've had a bunch of games already in the postseason where you guys have given up backbreakers at the end of the periods. You and TJ Brody are supposed to be the shutdown pairing for this Toronto team. So what exactly is going through his mind other than, like Sammy said, I'm so horned up from this hit that I'm just in a different area. Like, what is he doing up there?
He's
Like,
down below the hash marks.
Dude, he's the meme Action Bronson. It's unnecessary. It's just the tears running down his face. That's how I felt on that play. Just
That's a
really
great shot.
bozo stuff from him. And then he takes a penalty, eventually ices the game. Florida takes possession. The Leafs kind of quit on it because it felt like Samsonov got a piece of it, but they weren't deemed to be in control. It goes back. Samsonov makes a horrible read on the puck. The game's over. But
Yeah, only bad one for Sammy there, right? I have no idea what he's doing there.
He was a little shaky, and there were 2 for me.
Yeah.
I didn't like that one either that we showed. Like, it just didn't look like he was set. And I'm going, okay, what are you waiting for? It's just Stanley Cup playoffs. Why aren't you ready?
The breakaway?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a breakaway. He shot it off the bar and in from the hash marks. He's an NHLer. He scored
I went under
42
as well.
goals.
I just didn't like that he didn't look set, man. That's it.
He was set. It's an NHL sniper from the hash marks, puts it off the post and in. It's a breakaway.
I didn't like that he didn't look set, and he just ends up kind of
as the card holding goalie community member in this group. You killing him for a breakaway is pretty remarkable.
To me,
I did get someone else text me about not liking the breakaway goal against him.
Wow, I had no problem.
I can tell you my opinion. I didn't love his positioning on it, and the fact that he basically just ended up flopping on the play, didn't look set. Didn't look like he had legs underneath him.
How about for Haggy Borney? Now his 6th winner through 11 playoff games.
Yeah, that's right too. That's insanity. Like scores big goals, unfazed by the situation. Definitely one of those guys that scares me in this series as a secondary guy who can put chances away. Like this is this series where they can lull you into lapses. And do you remember the Montreal Canadiens, the year they went to the finals recently? They had some crazy stat.
I remember.
I know. They scored like 10 or some goals within 5 seconds of a turnover. Like it was a crazy number. Like they capitalized on chances. They weren't great, but they capitalized on chances. The Florida Panthers in the first round scored 8 goals off turnovers. Like within 5 seconds of a turnover, they got an opportunity and they scored. And tonight that would have been their 9th, I think. Jackie Redmond tweeted it, but I saw it in Sportlogic stuff too. And that is a reality with this team, is that you can be fine, going along, turnover, this score. And so you can't get lulled into this false sense of security where you're thinking offense, and you forget what they can do going the other way if you turn it over.
They remind me of great boxers that do the rope-a-dope, or that are great counter punchers, right? Where you just feel like the other guy's throwing volume, but that's actually the strategy of the boxer, where he's just waiting for you to open up, waiting to time you so that he can land a massive one on your chin. And that's just been the Panthers throughout these playoffs now. And that feels like Verhaeghe. It's a tough one. I didn't remember that Verhaeghe was even drafted by the Leafs until this past week, where it was reminded.
That weird trade. When they traded like 7 contracts for Grabner. Like it was just like, it was a weird one.
No, it just sucks because Florida just lost Marchment, and you went, okay, at least the Marchment Malgin thing is gone for now. Like he's in the West, it's over. You know, you're not reminded of it all.
He didn't, like, he got traded and like got released then got like Verhaeghe's not. It's a bit of a backbreaker, but even like the most cynical Leaf fan can't be like, oh, that was Lou too, I think.
No, I don't think it was like some bad trade. I'm just saying that, of course, Florida has yet another guy who's really good, a 40-goal scorer that was at one point in Toronto's system that just wriggled out and got away. I'm just saying that he replaces Marchment immediately as, oh, did you know that guy was with the Leafs? You know, they didn't even get a year break from that storyline.
Yeah.
Okay, rapid fire or anything else big from the game? Because I thought that we were going to maybe have a Samsonov conversation because to me it's just I liked what Sam said about Vasilevsky and being in the other net tonight. This felt like one of the only times so far this playoffs where the other team got better goaltending, and it was.
I thought Samsonov made great saves tonight. I thought he made enough good saves, but you're right. In this time of year, you remember the ones that went in, but I thought he made a lot of big stops.
Man, in the first period, when Toronto started to get, because Toronto got those 2 first power plays, they got a shot in the first period. I want to say 13.
11. I thought it was 11 something. Maybe you're right.
I wrote it down. I think it was 13-9.
That's a big save.
Yeah, it was. It was 13-9. But Toronto got a bunch of their opportunities earlier on in the period, and then Florida sort of ended up taking over a bit, and I thought Toronto went to sleep. And there was a couple of saves in this one that he made. Those 2 ones cross. It felt like, boy, that could have really just slaughtered the mood. I will say this. I know that people do this. It's such an easy trope to do. And I kind of hate doing it, but
you're right.
Bad crowd tonight, man. They just went
for
to
sure.
sleep. They were awful. Like everybody was in their seats. It was dead quiet in there. And I know that this is a lame one too, but game ops, crappy. The songs that they play, some of these situations, like play a banger and get the people on their feet. Cheer, for God's sakes. It was a graveyard in there when the Leafs were down 2 goals. And then the crowd got hot again when it was the tied 2-2. And then from that point forward, just graveyard, nothing, just no spark crowd.
I hate fan shaming, but if you're in the lower bowl in there, you can handle it because you're rich. So they were bad.
The only time they got involved, Matthews made a great pass to Knies. Knies scores his first NHL goal. That's a cool moment to answer back after getting scored on. Tkachuk's in his ear off the draw. They had a moment there, as did the Leafs, but that was about it.
How about Matthew Knies going double backwards between the legs tonight? Tried it when
the first time, maybe unnecessary.
Yeah, maybe just turn it to the backhand, pal. Like you're in the slot. Like that was and then he did it again and scored. That's a nasty first goal to have in the NHL.
I mean, you get your first goal from Austin Matthews in the playoffs on a between the legs, or that's Like I shouldn't use the language. It's good.
He was the ultimate, got robbed of a huge narrative tonight, Knies, because Sammy, I'm with you. I thought that he played well tonight. He was one of the better Leafs forwards. He's taken some big hits too in the playoffs, eh? Guys,
rocked tonight.
Was that not a late hit or interference or something?
I didn't think it in the time. I need to see it again, but that wasn't the thought I had in the moment. The thought I had in the moment was, why is it that this big kid is getting hit so hard a lot? Is it what is it about his game stylistically that's having him do it? But the mistake he makes in the D zone before he scores that goal, that's 2 games in a row where Knies has had one of those. I just thought it was worth noting and throwing out there. Sure. That being said, I'm a big believer with young people it's not about how you make a mistake. It's about how you respond to the mistake, and he responds beautifully. So
And I loved that he was on the bench after scoring his first ever goal in the playoffs in a massive moment for the Leafs, and he was still shaking his head about the defensive play. I'm like, I do like that.
I think I love him as a guy when you're down a goal or down 2 goals. He has this massive range of ability to me. He can do things that few players can, and he can do some stuff that makes you uncomfortable. He's a real wild card. I would like to see him get a bit more comfortable holding on to the puck. I know he's super young and hasn't played in the league long, but okay, we're in game 8. You can skate it through the neutral zone, hang on for a sec, take a look. He still feels a little and as he would, I get it, but he is better than he's giving himself credit for, I think, so far.
So I think that now we can go into rapid fire. Okay. Does anyone want to begin with the rapid firing of the takes? Sammy, you got anything that we missed?
Again, I guess maybe this could have been a bigger topic, but broomstick Brody fully here again tonight.
Oh, I liked 78. I liked him tonight.
The puck's just not doing the right thing on his stick. He's good defensively, he's good in position, but maybe it's just that I've fully lost trust in his ability to play the puck, and I'm watching it way closer. I don't think he was bad by any stretch, but it's very concerning with the puck on his stick right now. It's bouncing off in weird spots. He's not crisp with his passes. I wonder if he's got something going on with his wrist or something going on with his elbow or something. It just feels that it's not solid on his stick at the moment. It's concerning when it's got it, and he has it a lot. So I'm just really noticing it.
For me, just more net drive. Like if you fall on Bobrovsky or nothing happens or whatever, they lost to Columbus the one year, circling the net, staying to the outside. I just saw too content to have it on the outside, not enough making Florida make a play by trying to get inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you again. I really do think that the reason why I don't think it was a goalieing tonight is that the Leafs didn't do enough from the dirty areas. And they didn't have, again, sustained offensive zone pressure, which I would have liked to see a little bit more of. My rapid fires are twofold. One is we now know the bar for for Michael Bunting to draw a penalty, and it is get high stick in front of the net, right in front of the official, with no blocked visibility, and Michael Bunting will then get the penalty. That's a big moment for him. He's off the schneid for being able to draw one, but we know the bar now. He's got to wear it in the face.
His own blood. Yeah.
I loved his goal tonight. That's
Same.
that's a Sammy McKee beer league special. Cut that to the backhand, baby. It's a big time skill play to catch that like that. It was behind. He couldn't really see where the puck was coming from either. Like it was a weird pass by Yarncroc, and for him to get that and not panic. He's not really a backhand player. Don't see him going to his backhand a lot. So he cut it in, had a whole net to work with. I love that goal. It was a high skill goal. And I really, really, really thought the Leafs were going to win when he scored that goal. Like it just felt like it was going to happen.
It's a Sammy McKee play, and it's a high skill goal. I like that as back-to-back comments. That was great.
Yeah,
what can I say, bud? 100 career tucks in ASHL. It's nothing to sneeze at.
I got to tell you that the Bunting thing, you guys are probably right that using Knies as the bar for him maybe wasn't too fair considering the other guys. It's just that I just think Michael Bunting has to be playing more than 14 minutes in that hockey game the way that he was going. And to me, it was one of the major failings is this guy clearly has legs. He scored a big goal, and I'm not feeling him enough. And he's playing on the line that's getting a lot of the D zone draws. And that's actually one of my other rapid fires is big night for the Ryan O'Reilly is injured watch, because he won 7 faceoffs and was dominant in the circle. And we talked about it at that final game against Tampa when he wasn't winning any. Oh boy, what happens if you lost one of your critical faceoff guys? Big sigh of relief for the Toronto Maple Leafs that he was snapping them back to his own players tonight.
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
He was clean
good,
tonight.
Good in battles. Yeah, good in puck battles. The other thing is Kevin Bieksa spent a lot of time tonight talking about the pre-pinching of Florida's D down the walls. Like they come down over top of the wingers before they ever get the puck. Solving that is going to be fun for Toronto. I think using the middle, having that low support, but finding a way out of that can lead to some rushes against, capitalizing on those is going to matter.
I think Brandon Montour's shooting percentage now in the playoffs is something like 30%. Maybe if that could just stop happening, it would be good. So I think just maybe miss the net one time. That's a pretty absurd.
Can I make a terrifying parallel? He's giving me Alcides Escobar on the Kansas City Royals vibes.
I hate that you said that. That pisses me off that you said that. That's in my head. That's a great comparison. I hate you. That ruined my night because
that thought crossed my mind.
Because
these guys are the Royals.
So Bourne, I'm not. Do you remember the Alcides Escobar thing?
No.
Okay, so Kansas City had a leadoff guy that was basically like a Mendoza line hitter.
He's a bum.
And they knew they had this weird thing where they went, this guy's going to swing on the first pitch every single time. And they felt as though it was an omen if he could get a knock that they were going to win the ball game. And he was swinging at every first pitch. And for whatever reason, he just turned into Ichiro for that one run and kept getting pokes on first pitch, first at bats. And it would totally galvanize their team. And it was this thing that was clearly unsustainable. And he didn't have much of a career after that. Like, who knows what happened to old Alcides, but for that one run, he was the unsustainable man sustained, and they got it done.
I honestly think he hit like 800 against the Jays. Like he was just unstoppable. Like he was so good in that series in 2015. So please don't be the Royals.
I know. But that said, I did have that feeling. And again, I didn't like the Leafs tonight. I think that I am about as critical as it would get. I just I thought they were a little frantic off the start. I thought the first period they fell into Florida's trap. They played a good second, but then one that I didn't find there was a lot of will in their push from the rest of the game forward. I thought that they made some really boneheaded mistakes, and that they kind of went back to some old coaching crutches. But ultimately, all of that stuff in mind, Toronto was still better, and they got the defenseman who's shooting at the unsustainable clip, burying another one. I do feel like if Florida loses that, if they lose that Montour scoring every single game thing that they have going, they're in for a tough series. You're like, the path for them is amazing Bobrovsky goaltending, Tkachuk scoring 3 points a game, and Montour maintaining a 30% shooting clip. It's a big uphill climb for them.
Now, this doesn't mean they'll win, but the Leafs are a better team. I don't know if I said that last year, but they're a better team than Florida, so that adds an element of pressure for sure. Big game in 2 days. It's massive for this series because I do believe they're the better team.
Yeah,
and then there's 6 weeks off before the next game after that.
Sick.
Oof. Yeah, you know what though? Maybe it's a good thing there won't be hockey night in this series because it didn't feel very hockey nighty watching Leafs.
This series fit for a Sunday night. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
it's gonna get weird yet. It's gonna get weird.
There's this Mickey Mouse feeling when these two teams it used to be Leafs TV would always get Panthers games on Tuesday.
And Devils.
It was yes, 100%. Panthers Devils are like you could set your watch to those two teams being on Leafs TV on Tuesday night and then looking at it and Leafs lost. You probably didn't have the channel. You might have gone to a friend's dad had
You know what I used to do? I used to go to Cineplex and watch Leafs TV games. It was like they would charge like $7.99 and go watch like the Leafs TV game at a movie theater. And they won 8-1 once against the Panthers on a Leaf TV night at a movie theater. And I was there. It was electric. I'm hoping for an 8-1 movie theater night on Thursday night. For the Leafs.
I love that, buddy. I've never seen sports in a movie theater, but I've heard only great things from people on it. That it's a really, really Bourne. You've never done it either?
No. This guy deserves a Leafs championship if he's been to Leafs TV nights at a movie theater. Give him one.
For me, it was just like I knew I was listening to the radio that night a lot of times. If I couldn't get to a buddies that had it, it was just this is radio night. We're listening to the game. We're not watching it. Boy, we're old as dirt. We're just
big time.
Movie theaters don't even exist anymore, dude.
Half the people listening are like, "What's Leafs TV? Like, what are you guys talking about?"
The Leafs have their own TV, and you would watch it on there. It's like, what you mean Maple Leaf Square? Anyways, for JD
maybe it's time to wrap it up.
For JD Bunkis, Sam McKee, and Justin Bourne, thank you for watching. If you are watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. And then if you're listening, subscribe, share it, do all those nice things, and then reach out anytime on Twitter and Instagram. We love seeing the support. We love seeing the messages. And yes, hopefully a better Thursday night game for the Toronto Maple Leafs this week. We'll see you then.
See you at Cineplex.
Yeah, you wish.